Have you ever noticed how strange this feels? You know more about money than you did 5 years ago. You've watched the videos, read the threads, learned about budgets, emergency funds, investing, compound interest, and yet your bank balance still feels tight. That quiet money anxiety still shows up at night. You still feel like you're one medical bill, one car repair, one unexpected expense away from stress. And sometimes you wonder, what's wrong with me? Because if knowledge is power, why doesn't it feel like it's working? Today, I want to talk about that gap. Not in a judgmental way, not in a you're doing it wrong way, but in a very human way. Because the truth is, most people don't struggle with money because they're ignorant. They struggle because knowing and doing live in completely different parts of the brain. We've been told a very simple story about money. If you just learn enough, if you understand the rules, if you become financially literate, then good decisions will automatically follow. But that story ignores something uncomfortable. Human beings don't make money decisions logically. We make them emotionally, socially, and habitually, and then we use logic afterward to explain them. Think about it. You don't overspend because you don't know better. You overspend because you're tired, because you're stressed, because you want relief, comfort, or a sense of control. Most financial education focuses on numbers. Very little of it talks about behavior. Even less of it talks about identity. And that's why so many smart, informed people still feel stuck. It's not that you don't understand money. It's that your financial knowledge is fighting years of emotional wiring, social pressure, and survival habits. And knowledge alone usually loses that fight. Let's slow this down. When you learn about money, you're using the rational part of your brain, the part that likes clean rules. Save this percentage, invest consistently, avoid bad debt. But when you spend money, especially impulsively, a completely different system takes over. That system is older. It evolved to keep you safe, accepted, and emotionally regulated. Because money isn't just money. It represents safety, freedom, status, relief, belonging. So when someone says, just stick to a budget, what they're really saying is, override your nervous system using spreadsheets. And that's harder than it sounds. Example 1. Emotional spending. Imagine this. You come home after a long day. Your boss was difficult. Your inbox is full. You feel invisible, underpaid, and drained. Ordering DoorDash or buying something small on Amazon isn't really about hunger or need. It's about control. It's about saying, at least I get to choose something today. No budgeting app accounts for that feeling. Example 2. Scarcity wiring. Or take someone who grew up in a household where money was always tight. Bills caused stress. Arguments happened around finances. Even as an adult earning more money, their brain still operates in scarcity mode. Money feels temporary, unreliable. So when it comes in, it gets spent quickly, almost defensively. Not because they're careless, but because part of them doesn't trust that money will stay. Financial knowledge doesn't erase that overnight. Example 3. Social pressure. Then there's social pressure. No one talks about how expensive it is to look normal. Birthdays, weddings, group dinners, lifestyle expectations on social media. You can understand investing perfectly and still feel guilty saying no to plans you can't afford, because rejection feels more painful than overdraft fees. So you swipe the card and promise yourself you'll fix it next month. This is how the gap forms. Not because people are lazy or disciplined, but because money decisions are rarely just about money. They're about emotion management. There's another layer most people don't talk about. Consuming financial content can create a false sense of progress. Watching videos feels productive. Learning new terms feels empowering. Following money accounts feels like growth, but none of that changes your bank balance unless behavior changes. Sometimes learning becomes a way to avoid doing, because doing is uncomfortable. It forces you to face limits, to say no, to sit with boredom, to delay gratification. Learning feels safe. Action feels personal. So people keep learning and learning and learning, waiting for the moment they finally feel ready. That moment rarely comes. Here's the shift that changes everything. Most people try to fix money problems by adding more information. What actually works is reducing emotional friction. Instead of asking, "How do I optimize my finances?" a better question is, "Why do I reach for money when I'm uncomfortable?" That question isn't about discipline, it's about awareness. When you realize that spending is often emotional regulation, something softens. You stop seeing yourself as broken. You start seeing patterns. And patterns can be changed gently, not aggressively. Another powerful shift is separating self-worth from net worth. Many people stay stuck because money feels like proof of competence, so mistakes feel personal. Avoidance feels safer than facing numbers. But money isn't a moral scorecard, it's a tool, a messy, emotional, imperfect tool. Once you stop using money to judge yourself, it becomes easier to work with it honestly. That's the real turning point. So, what actually helps? Not extreme frugality, not grinding harder, not pretending emotions don't exist. What helps is designing your money life around how humans actually behave. One small example. Instead of relying on willpower, reduce decision fatigue. If saving only happens when you remember, it won't happen consistently. But if money moves automatically before you see it, there's nothing to fight emotionally. Another example, build buffers before goals. Many people jump straight to investing and optimization while living one expense away from panic. That panic quietly sabotages everything. A small emergency cushion doesn't just protect your finances, it calms your nervous system, and a calm brain makes better decisions. Another shift is allowing some money for comfort without guilt. Trying to be perfect often leads to rebellion spending. A little permission prevents a lot of damage. This isn't about being careless, it's about being realistic. And finally, start tracking emotions, not just numbers. Notice when you spend more, late nights, stressful weeks, after certain conversations. Not to shame yourself, but to understand yourself. Awareness is leverage. If you take one thing from this, let it be this. Staying broke after learning about money doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. Money change isn't a knowledge problem. It's a behavior and identity problem, and those take time. Progress with money is usually quiet. It looks boring. It feels slow. But every small moment of awareness, every decision made with a little more calm, every time you choose stability over impulse, that counts. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to overhaul your life. You just need to keep moving with a bit more honesty and a bit less pressure. Because peace with money isn't built through intensity, it's built through understanding. And you're already further along than you think. Take a breath. You're not behind.